Imagine waking up suddenly at night to feel a presence in the room with you. Then you see a demonic or frightening being approaching you with slow steps. Your heart races. You wish it is a nightmare and that you will wake up shortly, but you find out that you cannot move even a single muscle. Then you feel it approaching you. It sits on your chest and places its hands around your neck. You feel it suffocating you, but you can't even scream. Sleep demons or old hag syndrome is not a new idea. These creatures have been referred to for hundreds of years and have countless names. But recently this phenomenon was medically defined as sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis occurs when the sleeper is in the rapid eye movement stage, in which the person dreams. During this stage, the muscles are mostly paralyzed, but usually you do not realize it. And usually, the muscles wake up first, then the mind completely. But in the case of sleep paralysis, a disorder happens and the mind becomes conscious, but the muscles remain paralyzed. In short, your mind wakes up, but your body does not wake up. And with the line between being asleep and waking up blurring, the afflicted see, hear, or feel things that are not really there. They either feel or see something in the room with them, and usually it is something non-human. This condition is known as sleep demons. The descriptions of paralysis demons mostly share two things: the inability to move or speak, in addition to the feeling that an evil intruder, often supernatural, is suffocating them. Sometimes the sleeper feels that he is floating or flying in the air or sees himself outside his body. This condition differs greatly from nightmares. You dream of what you see in a nightmare. But in sleep paralysis, you are conscious and aware, and what you see is very real to you. I was suffering from sleep paralysis almost every night. Many times I felt as if I was outside my body. I remember that I once woke up suffering from this paralysis while I was dreaming of a car accident or someone attacking me. I could not move or scream. Sometimes I felt myself flying away and leaving my room. It was so realistic that I even felt the leaves of the trees outside touching my face. This stopped after about a year. I do not wish for anyone to go through it. It can be really terrifying. When I have sleep paralysis, I realize that I am awake, but in a dream-like state. I feel the blankets on my skin and the pillow pressing on my face. My body does not move, and I feel as if the air is being sucked from my lungs. I start to panic. I try to open my eyes, but they are tightly shut. But somehow I can still see the room, and it looks completely different. I had slept in my mother's room, which was a warm purple color. Now the room is dark, gray, cold, and moldy. I can see the room as if I were in a third-person perspective. However, I still feel like I am tied up. The more I try to move, the more I panic. But the less I resist, the more I feel weight pressing down on me. Then I began to feel smaller and smaller, and that I am being pressed under heavy weight. The room began to shrink at the same time, becoming darker and colder. Suddenly I hear a creaking sound, and although my eyes remained closed, I can see a creature appearing in the corner of the room. At first, I did not know what it was. All I knew was that it was going to kill me. My mother was at work and would come home to find me dead. I screamed for help, but my lips did not move. Suddenly my index finger was able to move, but barely. I focused on my finger and tried to convince myself that I was having a nightmare. What seemed like hours, perhaps was only a minute. Suddenly my body was freed from this paralysis and I jumped, gasping for air as if I was drowning. The devil was gone and the walls returned to being purple. I fell asleep a few weeks ago in the evening. My 3 children were playing happily in the room next to mine. My daughters usually play a lot of pretend games. They pretend to be monsters, so there are often very convincing screams of terror. I fell asleep, and saw a man entering our house to kidnap the children. My youngest son ran upstairs and I felt the struggle of my daughters as they tried to resist. I could feel the fear and I could feel in every possible way the real and very imminent threat to all of them. The feeling that your heart was about to stop. I wanted to move. And yet I was stuck. On that mattress on the floor in the other room, I heard my eldest daughter saying to her sister, "My mother will come for us later." It broke my heart and I burst into tears without being able to cry. I heard all of that without moving, without being able to scream and fight as I was in dire need of that. Then I heard my younger daughter scream and begins to cry, and my eldest daughter consoling her with soft whispers that I could not understand, but they included something like, "You must remain silent now, just for a little longer." At the same time, I continued to feel extremely terrified and tried with all my might to move or scream. I woke up at the hands of my eldest on my shoulder. "Are you okay?" My daughter asked me anxiously. I caught my breath and hugged them. "I am fine now." This happened to me once in high school. I had just moved my bed so it was facing the door. I was sleeping with the door open. The bathroom was located on the opposite side of the hall. At some point I woke up, and I saw something crawling across the ceiling from the bathroom. Shortly, I was able to make out the face of an old woman with a wide smile. She had a lot of teeth. Then she settled in the corner of my room on the ceiling like a giant spider. At the same time, I felt as if a weight had settled on my bed, pinning me in place. I could not do anything but stare at her for maybe hours, and in the end, one of my cats came and jumped on the bed. That was when I was able to wake up. I stopped sleeping with the door open after that and did not try it again since then. I woke up and when I opened my eyes, the color of the light in the room was green. The view I was seeing was as if I was lying on my back, as I usually sleep, and looking straight ahead. I couldn't breathe as if someone was choking me, and I couldn't move. I saw someone standing next to me but I couldn't tell who it was. I was confused as to what was actually happening because of the color of the light. Not to mention this had never happened to me before. So I blinked a few times. Then I saw myself where I was lying like I was seeing myself outside my body. So I immediately thought, well, oh, I think I'm dead. Suddenly the color of the room became normal again. And I was suffocating and gasping for air as if someone had stopped choking me. I slowly regained consciousness and blinked at the ceiling. My vision was blurry, but I realized that the sun had set. I heard the sound of footsteps. I thought they were my roommates. There was a giant pillow lying on my chest, blocking my face from view. I felt the weight of the pillow getting heavier. Suddenly I felt the need to get rid of it before it crushed me. After a few seconds of terror, I began to realize that I couldn't move. My limbs were tied and my mouth was glued shut. And who was that terrifying black figure in the corner of the room? There were no red eyes, sharp teeth, or other distinctive monstrous features. Instead, the shadow I saw lacked any physical or human features. This made it even worse. Feeling immense fear, I tried to scream, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't. I focused my vision on the ceiling, as if the longer I stared at it, the more my body did what I wanted. I think the experience did not last more than 1 minute, but that minute seemed like hours, and as if I was waking up from a dream or nightmare, everything ended. And I went from a state of paralysis to a state of exhaustion and incomprehension. The best way to expel sleep paralysis demons is to understand that it is not real, and that the paralysis and hallucinations will dissipate within a few minutes. You can try to make small, deliberate movements such as blinking repeatedly, or trying to move your fingers and toes to end the paralysis. Although they seem real, sleep demons are just a cruel trick of the brain. It is understandable that they are scary, but you have to know that you are not being chased or attacked, nor losing your grip on reality. The key to making this experience less terrifying is to take a deep breath. Calm down. And remember, this is a disorder in your sleep and it cannot harm you.